What if I told you the reason your body starts falling apart after 50 has nothing to do with your cholesterol, your weight, or even your blood pressure? Scientists followed over 120,000 people for 8 straight years, tracking everything about their health, and when the data came in, one single number predicted who would die early more accurately than smoking, more than diabetes, more than heart disease itself. It wasn't on anyone's radar. It wasn't something your doctor probably even mentioned at your last checkup. That number is called VO2 max, and before your eyes glaze over at the technical name, let me put it simply. It's a measurement of how efficiently your body turns fuel and oxygen into usable energy inside your cells, in these tiny engines called mitochondria. Think about your own life for a second. Maybe you've cleaned up your diet, cut the sugar, started taking fish oil, added collagen. Maybe you're even doing intermittent fasting religiously. And yet, when you wake up in the morning, you don't spring out of bed anymore. You kind of ease into the day. You go for a jog or try to climb a hill, and your legs just give out halfway. Recovery from a workout takes longer than it used to. Most people, when they notice this happening, panic and start reaching for more supplements, more pills, hoping something in a bottle will turn back the clock. And in the process, they miss the one thing that actually matters most. There's a concept researchers keep circling back to, something you may have heard of, metabolic dysfunction. Here's what's really happening at the cellular level. Even when there's plenty of fuel available in your body, it never actually makes it into the mitochondria to be converted into energy. That's why so many people feel constantly drained and tired despite eating healthy. When your mitochondria are inefficient, your risk for nearly every chronic disease goes up and your lifespan goes down. In many ways, chronic illness isn't really about a lack of nutrients. It's about your body's inability to actually use the fuel and oxygen it already has. The same way a car engine needs the right ratio of gasoline and oxygen to run, not just gasoline alone. When you measure VO2 max, usually on a treadmill test that gradually pushes you to your limit while machines track your oxygen use, you get something close to a real readout of your biological age and your fitness reserve. A high VO2 max means your body has a deep reserve of resilience. So when stress, illness, or age comes knocking, you can absorb the hit instead of being pushed straight to the edge. Now here's where it gets genuinely shocking. Picture a scale measuring risk of death. Heart disease raises your risk of dying by about 1.3 times. High blood pressure bumps it to 1.4 times. Type 2 diabetes, also around 1.4 times. Smoking, 1.4 times as well. These are the things we're taught to fear, the things doctors warn us about constantly. But being simply unfit, having a low VO2 max, carries roughly a 5 times higher risk of death. 5 times. That's not a typo, and it's not a small study either. This comes from research spanning more than 120,000 people. Being out of shape outweighed smoking as a threat to how long you'll live. And while we're breaking down myths, let's talk about cholesterol for a second, because so many people live in fear of a high number on their blood panel. A large Swedish study following adults over 60 found that higher total cholesterol was actually linked to a 30% lower risk of death from any cause. Not higher, lower. A separate long-term Chinese survey on longevity found that people over a certain age with the highest LDL cholesterol had a 23% lower risk of dying from any cause compared to those with the lowest. This doesn't mean throw out everything your doctor has told you, and it's absolutely not a call to stop any medication you're on, but it should make you pause and reconsider how much energy you're pouring into fearing a cholesterol number versus building actual fitness. Your body makes cholesterol on purpose. It needs it to build cell membranes and produce hormones, especially as you age. Other things matter too, of course. Keeping insulin low by cutting back on constant snacking, lowering chronic inflammation, managing stress, eating nutrient-dense food. But out of everything on that list, nothing moves the needle on mitochondrial health like fitness does. You can eat the cleanest diet in the world, but if your body doesn't have an efficient machine to convert that food into usable energy, you're still leaving your health on the table. Now, some of you are thinking, this is just genetics. Some people are built to age well and others aren't. Except that's not really true. Researchers have studied identical twins, same DNA, same birthday, and found their biological aging clocks can drift 10 to 15 years apart by the time they hit 50. Same genes, same starting point, wildly different aging speeds. Genetics can load the gun, but it's your daily habits, what scientists call epigenetics, that actually pull the trigger. So what do you actually do about this? First, and this is the simplest one, walk. Long walks, 30 to 60 minutes, at a pace where you could still hold a full conversation without gasping for air. This kind of steady aerobic movement is one of the most effective ways to build new mitochondria in your cells. It makes sense when you think about how humans used to live, walking long distances every single day just to survive, something almost none of us do anymore. Second, and this is the one that moves VO2 max the fastest according to the research, interval training. specifically alternating 4 minutes of hard effort with 4 to 5 minutes of full recovery, repeated 4 times through. If 4 minutes sounds impossible right now, start with 2, that's completely normal. Build up from there over weeks and months. Adding in hill sprints once a week on top of that can accelerate things even further. Third, build muscle through resistance training. More muscle means more mitochondria, and muscle acts like a giant reservoir that soaks up excess blood sugar, which protects your metabolic health in ways most people never think about. And fourth, consider intermittent fasting. Giving your body real stretches of time without food lets it activate autophagy, a natural cleanup process where damaged cells and worn-out mitochondria get broken down and recycled, essentially renewing your cellular machinery from the inside. Before you go running to the supplement aisle looking for a shortcut, know this. Resveratrol has largely fallen apart as an anti-aging tool in real research. NAD boosters are extremely expensive, often costing you $70 or more a bottle without solid trials proving they slow aging in humans. Telomerase activators rest on a single study that's never been independently replicated. Spermidine has no human trials backing it at all. And urolithin A, while it has a real plausible mechanism, shows such a tiny effect size in actual people that it's not worth building your entire strategy around. The real leverage isn't in a pill, it's in the foundational habits, the walking, the intervals, the muscle, the fasting windows. If there's one single takeaway from all of this, it's that fitness, not cholesterol, not genetics, not the newest trending supplement, is the single strongest predictor of how long and how well you'll live. Start walking today. Start building that reserve. Your future self, 20 years from now, is being built by what you do this week.